Hello.
Greetings. In Crisis of Conscience, the chapter Justification and Intimidation, Ray Franz has been analyzing the books published after Russell's death. He's just finished Million's book, or actually a booklet. And now we go to Rutherford's first hardcover book, his first full book of way more than 200 pages, which was edited, by the way, over the years. But here he's dealing with the first edition of the Harp of God, 1921. He says, in 1921, Rutherford published his first full-size book, The Harp of God. It reaffirmed the Society's confidence and faith in 1799 as the start of the last days, and 1874 as the time when Christ began his invisible presence. In the portions that follow, with key points underlined, note the way the developments that were distinctive of those times and world conditions were used as, there's his word, indisputable testimony in support of those dates. Now, the rest of this section in this video will be mostly quotes from the Harp of God. So if you lose the thread, keep in mind it's not Ray talking most of the time. It's Joseph Rutherford. He starts this way. The Harp of God, page 236. So the references here are mostly from 236 and the next couple of pages after that. He says, the purpose here, the quote again, direct quote, the purpose here is to call attention to certain important dates and then see how much, if any, prophecy has been fulfilled within these dates. Chronology, to some extent at least, depends upon accurate calculations, and there is always some possibility of mistakes. Fulfilled prophecy is the record of physical facts which are actually existent and definitely fixed. This is definitely Rutherford language. Physical facts do not stultify themselves. Yeah, that sounds very Rutherford. They stand as silent witnesses whose testimony must be taken as indisputable. There are two important dates here that we must not confuse, but clearly differentiate, namely, the beginning of the time of the end and of the presence of the Lord. The time of the end embraces a period from 1799 AD, as above indicated, to the time of the complete overthrow of Satan's empire and the establishment of the kingdom of Messiah. The time of the Lord's second presence dates from 1874, as above stated. The latter period is within the first named, of course, and in the latter part of the period known as the time of the end. So these are overlapping periods, but they've both expired because we're now past the time of the end, which was originally supposed to end in 1914. So this seems to be an attempt to get out of the obvious problem that you thought a bunch of things would happen between 14 and 21, and here you are in 21 and they haven't happened.
Right. Okay, so further in the Harp of God, he continues, I guess it's a few paragraphs past what he just read. From that time forward, there has been a great corresponding increase of knowledge in all the sciences, and in fact in all lines of learning. The common school, always opposed by the papacy, has afforded a means of general education, an increase of knowledge for people in all walks of life. Colleges and universities have sprung up throughout the world. With the increase of knowledge on various lines have come the numerous inventions that man now has, a time and labor-saving machines, etc. Or time and labor-saving machines, etc. Before 1799, the means of transportation were such that a man could travel only a short distance in a day. He must go either by a vehicle drawn by horses or oxen, or afoot, and when he would cross the sea, he must go in a sailboat that made little progress. In 1831, the first locomotive steam engine was invented. Such wonderful progress has been made in this regard that now one can travel through almost any part of the earth at a rapid rate upon a railway train. Later came the electric engines and electric motor cars and gas engines, and now there is a tremendous amount of travel in every part of the earth. It is no uncommon thing for one to travel at the rate of 75 to 100 miles an hour. And particularly is this true by means of the flying machine, which is a very modern invention.
The quote goes on, the aforementioned inventions are related to the day of God's preparation during Christ's presence. In 1844, the telegraph was invented, and later the telephone. These instruments were first used with wires, and by electricity messages were conveyed throughout the earth. But now, by later invention, wires are dispensed with, and messages are flashed through the air by the use of instruments all over the earth. This great increase of knowledge and the tremendous running to and fro of the people in various parts of the earth is without question, a fulfillment of the prophecy testifying as to the time of the end. These physical facts cannot be disputed and are sufficient to convince any reasonable mind that we have been in the time of the end. Any reasonable mind will be convinced that we have been in the time of the end since 1799. The latter part of the time of the end, Jesus designates as a time of harvest because he says the harvest is the end of the world or age. He stated that he would be present at that time. From 1874 forward is the latter part of the period of the time of the end. From 1874 is the time of the Lord's second presence, as above stated. The Apostle Paul, enumerating many things done concerning Israel, states that they are written for our admonition, upon whom the ends of the world or ages are come. It must be presumed, then, that these things would be understood at the time of the end. The circular reasoning.
Yeah.
We're in the time of the end, therefore we should understand them correctly.
And you'd have to be unreasonable not to believe the dates even that we've given you. So that means they're not reasonable now.
Well, this is,
Jehovah's Witnesses.
again, underlining the title of this chapter. Ray has nailed it. Justification and intimidation.
Yeah.
Everything here is designed to pressure you into conformity with Rutherford's points of view, some of which are new. Mm-hmm. And then there's another gap there, it would appear.
Yeah. He moves. I can't read. They're too small, the paragraphs. Numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, the laboring classes have always been downtrodden and kept in subjection to the financial, ecclesiastical, and political princes. It was in the year 1874, the date of our Lord's second presence, that the first labor organization in the world was created. From that time forward, there has been a marvelous increase of light, and the inventions and discoveries have been too numerous for us to mention all of them here. But mention is made of some of those that have come to light since 1874 as further evidence of the Lord's presence since the date. And then he's gonna you're gonna scream with laughter at this. I did anyways when I first read it. These are the things that are further evidence of the Lord's second presence since 1874.
And it's in alphabetical order, so you'll excuse some of the humor that is an accident because of the alphabetical order?
Yeah. Adding machines is the first one. Adding machines, aeroplanes, aluminum, antiseptic surgery, artificial dyes, automatic couplers, automobiles, barbed wire, bicycles, and this I don't even know what this is, carborundum, cash registers, celluloid, correspondence schools, cream separators, darkest Africa.
Not invented, but discovered.
Yeah,
apparently.
I guess. Okay. Disc plows, divine plan of the ages, dynamite, electric railways, electric welding, escalators, fireless cookers, gas engines, harvesting machines, illuminating gas, Induction motors, linotypes. Is that how you say that? Linotypes?
No, what the?
Linotypes?
Okay,
Whatever.
Whatever.
Matching machines, monotypes, motion pictures, the North Pole.
Okay, discovered, not invented.
Yeah, Panama Canal, pasteurization, radium, railway signals. Okay, this is a strange thing. I don't even know what this is. Roentgen? What's that? Roentgen rays?
Rays, okay, fine.
I don't know what that is. But anyways, shoe sewing machines, skyscrapers, smokeless powder, South Pole, submarines, subways, talking machines, telephones, television, typewriters, vacuum cleaners, and wireless telegraphy.
All this is to prove what date?
1874.
Well,
which
actually,
we don't believe anymore.
most of them are not 1874, though. They're even before that, aren't they?
Yeah.
A lot of them are, therefore, proofs of 1799.
Yeah.
Does it seem that way to you? Well, to them, it was very convincing.
Yeah.
All these things are new. Therefore, we're in the time of the end.
Yeah.
And yeah, but you have to note the use of Daniel 12:4 here, which is
The increase
many
of knowledge.
running to and fro in the increase of knowledge.
Yeah.
Everybody believed that back then. So this is not unique to Russell and Rutherford, of course, this accumulation. What is different, though, is the date setting. Mm-hmm. Other people think this is marvelous, and it may be a proof that we're in the last days, especially the restoration of the Jews. That was the big one, right?
Yeah.
All this other stuff was also used,
Mm-hmm.
but the date setting, very few did what you did to declare yourself a false prophet. And that's what the justification here is about, isn't it? So the last section here, this is Ray now talking about all of this. Ray Franz, that is, not Röntgen rays. Note particularly that after describing the development of such things as Bible societies, increase of colleges and universities, steam, electric, and gasoline modes of transportation, telegraph and telephone, all resulting in a great increase in knowledge and movement, the book, on page 239, states, quote, "This is, without question, a fulfillment of the prophecy testifying to the time of the end. These physical facts cannot be disputed and are sufficient to convince any reasonable mind that we have been in the time of the end since 1799. End of quote. That which is without question, Ray says, is logically infallible. The word infallible is not used, but to all intents and purposes, the claim is made. And if any doubt or are not convinced, well, they simply do not come within the category of those having a reasonable mind. This is also intellectual intimidation, a weapon that solid truth never needs to employ. He goes on, next time we get into the Watchtower quotes from the period from Harp of God onward, 22 through 25, etc. We'll put in a link to what Rutherford said actually about 6 years after this. He's still talking in the same way about 1799 and 1874 when he writes the book Creation after he's decided to dump Russell. He's still talking about the time of the end being 1799. So we'll put the link into that. Part of our Ever playlist, which is, have Jehovah's Witnesses ever been God's organization?